everybody. It's Georgia Rose, and I am in the soul space. I hope you're having a good day. Today, Neptune went into Aries for the first time in 168 years, and I am here to tell you all about it. We talked about it a lot on last week's show, but first, let me introduce myself. I am Georgia Rose. I'm a psychic astrologer, psychic intuitive, and every Monday at 7 o'clock, we're here in the Zenkuda Soul Space, and we talk about all kinds of spiritual things and how to get our soul in the right place in alignment with us. And sometimes we have tarot and astrology and special guests. I have a great lineup in April for you. You are going to love the show. We'll be putting that out tomorrow, April 1st. We'll be putting out all 4 shows for April. But tonight, I want to talk about Aries. Since Neptune just went into Aries, we have the sun in Aries. And Aries energy, ruled by Mars, is going to really be in play for the month of April. So let me just finish sharing the show. And I will, And then if you're at home or wherever you're watching, in your car or wherever you are, if you would also share the show, I would absolutely love it. So it's been one of those days for me, and I'm actually trying to share the show on my phone, but I'm typing on the keyboard of my iPad. Yeah, it's been that type of day. uh, Sorry for all the dead air. We'll have to edit that out after. So if you want to share the show, that'd be great. So man, Aries came in hot. Aries energy is a fire sign. And I don't know about you guys, but as soon as that eclipse happened on Saturday, when I woke up Sunday, I was ready to rock and roll. I've been working all weekend at both of my careers, both real estate and also in the spiritual realms. As I said, I have a great month of April booked for you guys. We're going to have Stephanie Kalanoff back on, but this time she comes back on with her brother in April. I've also got another special guest, which is a secret right now, and we've got some really great show topics. I'm trying to get Phoenix Green back on to talk about the Schumann resonance, since the vibration of the earth has been off the charts lately. So I am going to hop into the astrology. I'm just going to actually share my show on the Zenkuda Soul Space. If you're not part of our group on Facebook and Instagram, on Instagram it's Zenkuda Official, and on Facebook it's Zenkuda Soul Space. Also, we have a YouTube channel where all of our videos are put after the show is live, so you can always watch them on Zenkuda on YouTube. And that YouTube channel, by the way, has a ton of videos all about all different things to help you with your spirituality and whatnot. Also, in addition to that, I do have a website. If you want a reading or astrology or anything, you can go right on to the website, and it will book your appointment for you and everything. It'll just about do everything but brush your teeth. How's that? So I am going to hop right into the astrology. You guys keep sharing the show. That way I can do what I meant to do here in the soul space. So let me find my notes. All right. So I'm going to talk about astrology first, and then if we have time, we're going to go to cards. I know you all love it when I go to cards, so definitely going to get that, because I know last time on the show we didn't have enough time to get to everybody. So for those of you who did not get a card last time, make sure you tell me and we'll get you a card. So a couple of things I want to talk about specifically about April. Number one is, this is kind of a PSA for myself included in that, and everyone else. We are going to see, because there's a lot of Aries energy, we're going to see quite a bit of fire out in the world. We're going to see a lot of, because it's ruled by Mars, and Mars is going back into Leo. It's not retrograde anymore, and that's also a fire sign. So we're going to see people wanting to express themselves, and they're going to, be a little bit impatient. I'm trying to be kind here. And some people are just basically going to lose their you-know-what. It's a month like that. So my advice, this is my PSA part of the show. My advice is, let's all try and really stay out of the fray, especially on social media. We've got Mercury in play here this month. It's going to be retrograde until the 7th. And when Mercury comes off a retrograde, there's some other things that happen, which I'll talk about in a minute. But when we have a sky like this, where it's almost like a trigger point, And you're going to see a lot of people triggered very easily in this energy. And I don't like to appear negative. And I'm not saying this to be negative. I'm saying it because it's like a weather forecast. If you know it's raining, you can bring your umbrella. Well, it's the same thing. If you know that things are going to be triggering for some people, you can prepare, and you can also know when to kind of take a step back. For those of you who practice yoga, there's something in yoga that we do, and it's called be the observer. And what that means is that we're not going to get involved or entangled, but we observe everything. We know just what everything is. We really have pretty much referenced the room. We've weighed and measured things, and we know exactly our little place in this play that's playing out. And we can function and be really focused in our agenda without getting entangled in everybody else's stuff. You're going to see a lot of that play out on social media, a lot of it play out in words. If you go out with a group, not everybody's going to get along. It's going to be that kind of an energy. Why would that energy be in the universe? It's there to teach us to be more calm. It's there to teach us to develop the patience. It's there to teach us to make the slight adjustments, right? Also, as using a yoga reference, I know when we do yoga and we're in a pose and we just slightly adjust something, like maybe you're in warrior pose and you slightly adjust your back or you slightly adjust your hand, and all of a sudden the whole pose changes. That's what this month is going to be like. It's up to us to step into a little bit of responsibility for the outcomes of our exchanges. And so the best advice I can give you, and I'm going to be more specific about some days to watch out for and things like that this month, but we've got a really fiery sky and really fiery energy. It's going to test our patience, and it's going to be a trigger point for a lot of people. So whenever you have a sky like that, it's really a good idea, even though Aries energy can be impulsive and make us want to do a lot of action, it's really a good idea to stay in our own kind of energy, stay in your own space. It's very easy in a sky like this to get overwhelmed and feel like there's too much energy around us. I had an extremely busy last 3 days, and I have people that I still have to call that I owe phone calls to. I was on the phone almost all day today with business, and that's the energy it's starting to pick up. And this can be very hard for us coming off so much water in the world where everything was in Pisces and things seemed like they were foggy and kind of stagnant. Now things are going to be full speed ahead. So we really want to temper our energy. We want to be able to be in our own energy enough to weigh where we need to jump, where we need to pull the trigger, and where we need to kind of lay back a little bit and strategize more than we have. This is an energy where, again, you want to be the observer, and where you also want to make sure that you're going back and crossing your T, dotting your I before you go forward. Make sure the gas is in the car. That meaning you're the vehicle here. So make sure that you have it set up so that you have everything you need for your trips, for your strategies, for your projects, for your conversations. If you're looking to, be confrontational with someone, take a breath and really think about what you want to accomplish, because that's the energy this month. It's a lot of Aries energy. Sun's in Aries, everything's in Aries. Chiron's in Aries, Neptune's in Aries for the first time in 168 years. Mars is ruling everything in the Aries, and Mars is going into Leo, another fire sign. You will see a lot of fire out in the globe with our world leaders, especially, when the sun is in Aries. It's really a sign regarding powerful people and power struggles. And with Mars going into Leo, that really shines a light on leaders. And back in the ancient times, it would have been kings and leaders of countries, and it still is that. But it's also certain politicians. This is aspecting very, very heavily in the president's chart of the United States. I would not be surprised to hear if Mr. Trump has a mild health issue or a health issue this month, or also if the things that happened when Venus went retrograde directly at that time, when Venus went retrograde exactly in that month in March, we had the fallout of the Zelensky and Trump reconciliation. They were trying to find peace, and then it totally went south. That's because Venus went retrograde right at that time frame. Now Venus will be going direct this month. I'll give you the date in a moment. And when it does, it's going to bring back all of the things that happened when it started to go retrograde, because it's going to go over that point in the zodiac again. So think about that date, in March, around that, second week of March, what was going on for you? I knew as soon as I saw that unfold on the screen, I said, oh, it's Venus retrograde. It's not going to work. So if you've had a love affair issue or a romantic issue or an issue with business, that something that you were really banking on or something you were really trying to get together fell apart, it's going to come cycle around again this time. It may or may not work out. That depends on what your, input is. But whenever a planet is retrograde and it starts to go direct, it will recycle what the energy was at the retrograde point. Same thing with Mercury this month. It's going to be going direct after April 7th. So whatever was going on when Mercury went retrograde the first time, about a month or 6 weeks ago, it's going to come back around. So right now we've got the North Node conjuncting Venus and Mercury, and Venus and Mercury are retrograde. What does that mean? The North Node is our direction in life. It's actually like our true north. It's the fated aspect that we came into this world of the soul's desire to do in this lifetime. With Mercury and Venus on that contact point right now, it's going to repeat the energy of March a lot as these two planets start to go direct as the month progresses. Those dates when Mercury and Venus go direct are Mercury goes direct at 26 degrees Pisces and goes into Aries on April 16th, but it goes direct on April 7th, and then it reaches Aries on April 16th. That's going to be even more fire in the sky. And Venus, of course, does that on April 13th. It goes direct from 24 degrees Pisces. We still have Venus and Mercury in the North Node in those tail degrees of Pisces, which is stirring up all that fog and cloudy energy, the things that we just can't seem to untangle, the things we can't seem to tie up. And Venus, April 13th, goes direct, and it heads for Aries on April 30th. So by the end of this month, Venus and Mercury will both also be in Aries. It's a lot of fire, a lot of Aries energy. It's also a lot of clarity about the things that we have not been able to get clear on. And remember, that's happening to everyone on the planet. So people in your life, people around you at work, people in your environment are also undergoing a lot of the same feelings that you are and that I am. But of course, the circumstances will be different for everyone. So we start the month with a lot of Aries energy and planets headed towards Aries even more so. But April 4th, which is this week, I believe on Friday, Saturn sextiles Uranus. What does that mean? When Saturn sextiles Uranus, it's a very bumpy energy. Uranus is an awakening type of planet. It's about shock and sudden change in our lives to awaken us. But when it happens, when those sudden changes happen, we don't understand them. They can be very painful at times. But that's part of the awakening because we can't know the process all up front, right? We have to go through it. It's like getting ready to go on a trip. If we just went to the destination, it wouldn't be half the fun because we didn't get to plan and see things along the way. That's how Uranus works. It does something sudden and shocking in our life, either good or bad, but we don't really understand it all until it finally gets around to revealing what the awakening part of the journey is. So when it sextiles a planet like Saturn, which is limitation, which is authority, which is structures, what will happen is one of two things, and this is very prominent around April 4th. Either Uranus, that planet of sudden shock and awe, will blow up a structure, Saturn, an authority, Saturn, a organization, Saturn, or Saturn will limit Uranus's ability to go into shock and awe and brings a big change in our life. So it could go either way. But either way, it's uncomfortable. Either way, if we're expecting something to happen and then it gets limited, we don't really like that so much. It's frustrating. And on the opposite, if we are expecting things to be, in order and very structured, and we're relying on the old paradigm and the old systems to get us through, and then Uranus comes in and blows them apart, well, that's pretty uncomfortable as well. And that's the energy that we're in this week. We're approaching the exact sextile of Uranus and Saturn, which happens on April 4th. And until then, you're going to feel things be a little herky-jerky. Like before something that you really desire comes into fruition, make sure it's what you really desire. Really check with your soul and say, is this really what I want? If this got blown up tomorrow, would I be okay with it? Or if something came in to limit my opportunity here, would I be okay with it? So basically what that means is what I started to say in the beginning of the program. Really try and temper yourself, remain calm, and really try and get into a place where you're observing everything around you. You're observing the room. You're observing what's unfolding, because that will give you the power that you need and the knowledge that you need to go forward and really ask yourself, what is it that I really want here? because that is the lower energy of Aries. It is impulsive. It charges in like the ram, but it doesn't really know what it did it for. Why did I do this? Am I a rebel with a cause or a rebel without a cause? And that's how Uranus is going to end our week this week, because it's going to ask you the things that you really want to fight for, the things that you really want to have revolution for. Is it what you really want, or are you just a rebel without a cause? And it's going to play out on the world stage as well. We hear a lot of controversy out there. It's going to be really interesting to see how this month plays out. So then we have those dates I gave you. April 7th is when Mercury goes direct. April 12th, the Sun conjuncts Chiron in Aries. That means that the sun is lighting up all of our wounding, our wounds. It does that so that we can have an awareness and a different perception in our own healing. So this is a month where you will find a lot of healing happening if you stay out of the entanglements of the trigger moments that are going to go on around us all. So when when Aries energy comes in and the sun in Aries conjuncts Chiron, it's going to bring us to a place of contemplation, illumination about the wounds that we carry. It could be anything from the time that kid pushed you in the schoolyard to your mother being hypercritical of you to something that triggered you last week. But there's really going to add to the triggering moments of all this Aries energy. And then on 13th, Venus goes direct and it's headed for Aries. So now, right when all that happens, of April 12th, the sun going right up against Chiron, the planet of our wounds, in Aries, the fire sign, right? And Venus goes direct in that fire sign Aries, fire sign Pisces, headed for Aries. The next day, on April 13th, we have a full moon in Libra. And this is a turning point because Mars, which rules Aries, is a partner with Venus, which rules Libra. And they'll be across from each other in the zodiac. Obviously, Aries and Libra energy are across from each other. So this full moon is going to be in Libra opposing Aries, right? The sun is in Aries. The moon is in Libra. That's why it's a full moon. They're illuminating each other. So what does that mean? It means that Aries and Libra themes are going to really be ruling this month. So Aries themes are warlike. You know, Mars is the planet of war. It's aggression. It is ambition. It's energy. It is the way we take action in our lives. So the correct use of Aries energy is assertion. Using strategic energy in the correct way in order to get what you really want by taking the right action. Venus, which rules Libra, is all about our values and the things we really desire. So that's why this is a fabulous month for manifesting. The only issue with that is because there's so much Aries energy, people are going to want to be more demanding than they are surrendering. And we all know the way you manifest is you surrender to the universe in order to get what you want. You let the universe bring it to you because you're in flow. But with all this Aries energy, we can be like petulant children and be like, well, why isn't it happening now? I want my ice cream now. I know it's 3 a.m., but I want it. I've been good and I want it. That's kind of Aries energy. But the good thing about Aries energy is the fire. We can use it to really propel ourselves forward and add fire to our dreams, our imagination, especially when Venus and Mercury are finishing up in Pisces, which is the sign of imagination and our dreams and our hopes and our wishes. So if we apply some Aries fire to all this, then we'll be really cooking with gas and we can get the things we really desire, Libra, Venus. But if we go too far and we let the ram run around and we grab him by the horns and ride all over the place and let him go willy-nilly, it's not going to be such a good month. I think you guys get it. So this particular full moon, I hate to use the word dangerous, but I'm going to use it in the framework of the United States of America. Because, you know, us astrologers, we actually look at charts that are of certain countries when they were born, things like that. I'm actually gifting someone now who's getting married a chart of the exact date and time of their wedding and what their wedding chart looks like. So we also do that with countries, and the United States has a birth chart. In the United States birth chart, there's some particular aspects right now that show that this time can be very volatile for the United States. I'm not going to go into the details. I might do a separate video about that. But just let's say, be careful. don't get too involved in politics, especially on media, because people are really going to lose their freaking minds. All right. This is going to be a very interesting month. Things are going to happen that we don't expect. And when I say dangerous, it's because we have a lot of people who are getting very overzealous. And, Aries is fire, and we see people going around burning things down. And I don't think that's a very wise thing. I don't see the power in that whatsoever. Fire is a sign, is an element that can be used for construction, right? We heat things up and we can actually construct something with fire, right? Our food, but it's also can be destructive. The other day, I just actually went with someone from my real estate world, and we looked at a house that was completely burned down because he was thinking of buying the property. That's how just destructive fire can be. It can really, be so detrimental, but it can also be constructive, right? We can use fire to heat things that we normally wouldn't eat raw or nourish us, to heat our home so that we actually have some self-preservation, that we can survive, right? So fire can be good when we use it in the right way, but fire can also destroy things when we use it in not the right way. And right now, I think there's a lot of people, especially in my country, who are using fire and heat and passion in the wrong way. The energy that always comes to mind for me in this kind of a sky and for this month is Joan of Arc. And you guys all know I align so well with Joan of Arc. I was definitely her energy in one lifetime. And Joan of Arc, I love to use the word crusader, right? Because she didn't just ride into battle as a rebel with no cause. She rode into battle because she fiercely loved her people. So the moral of the story is, make sure that whatever you're trying to manifest, whatever action you go into, it's based in love. Venus in Libra, right? Venus rules Libra. So even though Venus is in Pisces right now, the archetype of imagination and our hopes and our dreams, and it's retrograde, when it starts to go forward, and it will be forward on this full moon, and so will Mercury, we can start to really go into our desires from a place of love and right action. And then we're not going to want to be impulsive. We're not going to be overly passionate about something to the point where we hurt people in the process. And that's really how you want to use Aries energy. You want to make sure that you're using it for construction. You're using the fire to light a fire of your dreams, to let that eternal flame within you burn for the passions that you really have. And that's why this can be dangerous energy. And especially with a chart like the United States of America right now, it's having some transits that are really volatile. And also, believe it or not, in the chart of our president here, he's having some major transits, one of which repeats the transit of when, last July, when what happened in Pennsylvania. And so it's going to be a very interesting month to watch. And I hope that, I'm sure they have an astrologer in the White House. They always do. I mean, every CEO of company has an astrologer. Every governor and world leader always consults an astrologer. I can tell you that actual fact. So I'm sure that he has people telling him to be careful. So then we go on to April 18th this month. And April 18th is the day when Mars enters Leo. So we have that full moon in Aries. Full moon in Libra with the sun in Aries. We've got fire in the sky. And then finally Mars, which rules Aries, the planet goes into Leo. And that is another fire sign. Leo is about the audience, the presenter, the showman. Leo is about bringing our internal light and our solar light into the world. So remember when I told you that we have the sun conjuncting Chiron, the planet of our wounds? Well, what that means is that it's going to bring our solar consciousness or our higher consciousness to the woundings that we've had in our life so that we can have some really deep healing. When Mars goes into Leo, that is also going to happen because Leo is of the heart. It brings awarenesses into our heart space for deep healing. It's the place in the chart, Leo, where we have to go through some kind of a journey or a process in order for us to understand the power of love is greater than the love of power. But when Mars is in Leo in a sky like this, when we have so much Aries energy, where our world leaders are concerned and where politics and leadership in general is concerned, even if that's like a leader in your company or a leader in your school or a leader in your life, it's going to really feed into the ego. So we, as soul space people, have to be really careful that we don't let that ego run amok. Because as soon as the 18th happens and that Mars goes into Leo, this energy is going to heat up. I'll be very, very surprised if we don't have a very hot spring. And I'll be very surprised if we don't have a lot of geo things happening, volcanoes, earthquakes, things like that, because this is very fiery. This is an energy that was in play when Mars was in Leo before it went retrograde. That's when we had the California wildfires. So now it's going back into Leo. It's been direct for a while. So, things like that can happen. So April 18th, we have Mars in Leo. Leo themes, you may see more fires. So when that happens, it repeats the themes of the retrograde. The retrograde happened on December 6th when Mars went retrograde. It started at 6 degrees of Leo and went all the way back into Cancer. This was one of the longest Mars retrograde we ever had. And then it went direct on February 24th. But I went into Cancer on February 24th, and now it has been direct for a couple of weeks. So now it's really powerful. Mars in Leo, after it's been retrograde, has taken all that wisdom from Cancer where it went back into, and now it's full steam ahead going into Leo on the 18th of April. That's going to pack a punch. It'll be an energy when you wake up around those days, April 17th, 18th. It's going to be a day when you're going to have so much energy. You're going to be like, I don't know what happened, but I just cleaned out all my closets and I'm getting my car tuned up and I think I'm going to, lift up the house. Like, it's a really big energy. So Mars in Cancer, when it was in Cancer, it's there now. That is a very emotional, repressive energy because Mars wants us to take action. It wants us to go. It wants us to do, just like Aries. So when it goes into Leo, it's really going to be full steam ahead, a lot of fire. But when it's in Cancer, where it is right now, where it's been for the last little while, it makes us feel kind of annoyed because it's like we're suppressed, like we can't really get our emotions out, or we'll try to get our emotions out and people don't really get it or understand us, or, they're detached and we feel a little detached. So when that Mars goes into Leo on the 18th, we're all going to feel more like, the lion's going to roar and people are going to hear that roar. There's going to be no misunderstanding that. And Neptune in Aries is going to be there until 2038. Neptune went into Aries last night. And this is about a 13-year thing, Aries. It'll be in Aries for at least 13 years. And what I want to say is that it's going to be there until 2038. I want to say this can really heighten power struggles for us over the next several years. I think you're going to see that play out on the world stage. But you guys are in the soul space and you're, totally zen, so you're going to be fine. We also just had an eclipse in Aries, so that's carrying that fire energy around for the next 18 months. So, guys, we have like a really fiery sky. Can't even tell you how fiery it is. And then on April 19th, the day after Mars goes into Leo, on April 19th, the sun goes into Taurus. And Taurus is ruled by Venus, just like Libra. So when Taurus is ruled by Venus and the sun goes there, now we've got Mars in Leo, Venus in Taurus, the sun in Taurus, and we've still got now Mercury, Venus, Chiron, and Neptune all in Aries. So it can be a very volatile time. Venus in Taurus loves to use her resources. With Venus in Taurus after April 19th, it's really going to change the energy a lot. When Venus moves from Aries into Taurus, we go to a very passionate, fiery kind of, I want to express everything, to, I think I want to go get a massage. I think I want to have a really good cup of coffee. I think I want the facial. I want the warm, furry blanket. I want to have a really sumptuous dinner. Venus in Taurus is all about sensuality, not sexuality, but sensuality. So it's about the senses. It wants to feed the senses and feel good. But Venus in Taurus is also going to bring us to a place of values where we value our own resources and self-preservation. So that's going to tone down a little bit some of these power struggles and triggering that we've had. And that won't be until the 19th. But it's still going to be a very volatile sky. So please, everybody, get your massages, do your meditation, stay out of the fray this month. Taurus is a good time to let beauty surround you. Go to a museum, go to an art show. Allow your solar light of consciousness to shine through Taurian themes. Really think about, how do I self-preserve, and where do I feel safe, and where do I want to feel safer in my life? What can I do to make myself feel safe from within, not from the external? And then on April 29th, Mars opposes Pluto. This is the third and final Mars-Pluto opposition in a 2-year cycle as they've gone retrograde and back and forth. Mars and Pluto, when they are in opposition, can be a very destructive energy because Mars is the planet of war. It's the god of war. It likes to erupt things, and Pluto is what's underneath the surface. So when Mars and Pluto are opposition, it usually makes something that's been hidden, something covert that's under the surface erupt. You know, a typical Mars and Pluto sometimes will play out in a relationship. You find out somebody hasn't been faithful, or you find out someone's been lying to you about something. On the world stage, it could be a lie comes out, or, you know, a hot mic issue is revealed and somebody said something, or it could be that, you know, somebody uncovers a tape or a video of something someone did years ago or recently, and it's a complete fail. You know, it's like not a good thing. So when Mars is in a opposition to Pluto, and this is the third and final one that we've had in a 2-year cycle, expect something to happen. It's also very linked with nuclear energy and technology and things like that in the nuclear type of quantum physics kind of realm. The last time on the first square, we had the nuclear back and forth with Russia. That was February 2024. And where the United States government accused Russians of planning to put nukes in space. And then on the second opposition, Russia launched a hypersonic missile at Ukraine. And it was the first time a warhead like that was used that could have nuclear capability, but it did not. So at the end of April 29th, when we have the third square of Mars-Pluto, it'll be interesting to see what comes out on the world stage. This will be some kind of an eruption between Russia and the U.S. And it was really funny because I heard just on the radio in the car tonight something about Putin had said something about the elections in the United States, and it didn't go over very well. So it's interesting to see always how, as above, so below. Whatever is happening in the sky is completely reflected here on Earth. And then if that isn't enough going on April 29th, when we have that Moon-Pluto opposition, then we have a new moon in Taurus. And remember, the sun went into Taurus, the moon is there, that's why it's a new moon. And this is a seeding moment. The new moon is a seeding moment in a chart that's completely ruled by Venus right now, and Mars. So this is a lot about relationship. You're going to have a lot of relationship theme type stuff going on with all those planets in Aries, because Aries is about the relationship with self. Opposite of Aries is Libra. Libra is about our relationship and how we configure through the other. So for the next several years with Neptune in Aries, it's going to be about relationships and going deeper in relationships, your relationship with source energy, with what you believe in as your own cosmology, God, the angels, whatever that may be. Because this new moon is in Taurus, ruled by Venus, and we've got all that hot energy in Aries, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that we may see some tension and some volcanic type release of energy around the end of this month, because that new moon is squaring the Mars-Pluto opposition. So this is like igniting that opposition. So definitely some things are going to happen. And I don't feel worried or anything, divining these things or, using this as guidance, because I feel like when you know the energy and you know the weather that's coming, you can prepare and okay, this is something I think is supposed to happen in the world. And what I can tell you is that this particular month is just one small piece of a much, much bigger picture for 2025 and 2026. We're going to see tremendous change in the world. The world is completely adjusting and erupting because we are forming a new world order. And this is global. And the reason why it's very important for us to stay out of the fray and stay out of all of the division and all of the things that are happening is because there is a phenomenon called mass formation psychosis. I think some people like to use the slang Trump derangement syndrome or something. I don't use phrases like that because they're partisan and I'm not political. So there is actually something that is a scientific fact. You can look it up. It's called mass formation psychosis. And the idea behind mass formation is that when people are isolated or feel like they're in a nothingness. They're lonely. And this is really all about the amount of Pisces energy that we just had. It dissolved a lot of things in our world. So when the Pisces energy came in these last few months and really dissolved things, a lot of us had moments where we really felt like, why am I here? And what is this all for? And what does it mean? And I feel this overwhelming sense of nothingness, like I'm just floating around in this psychic drift. Very similar to what we went through during those COVID years, right? When we were isolated. It made us a little off center. Well, that energy has been in play the last several months, but now the energy is starting to shift towards Aries. But what I can tell you is there's a lot of things going on in the world that are deliberate by humans, not cosmic. And the reason why they are deliberately done, this is all a big play being put on by global controllers, which are much higher up than the leaders of countries that are running the leaders of countries. This is my opinion. And when we're in that psychic drift and we're in that hopeless feeling and we're in that meaningless, we are extremely susceptible to the suggestions that are put out in front of us. And what happens is we become a slave to the algorithms. Don't put your stuff on Facebook that, oh, this is bad, this is good, I can't believe this. It's all bullshit, people. None of it's real. It's a moment in time. There's a much bigger thing playing out in 2025 and 2026. We are forming a new world order. Whatever is happening right now is going to change. Is it going to change for the better or the worse? Well, that remains to be seen, but we got to stay out of the mass formation of the psychosis. And we already see this with what's happening with Ukraine, and we already see this with what's happening with this Doge stuff. With Neptune in Aries, the mass formations of psychosis that they're going to feed us are going to be around war. Aries is the war sign. So we're going to be encouraged to support war and others people's belief systems, or if we don't, we're bad people. You see this playing out now with Ukraine. And I'm not being political. I'm just talking about we get sucked in to an Aryan energy that wants us to have this like psychosis where we're fighting with everybody and his brother about I'm right, you're wrong. I can piss in a straight line straighter than you. I'm right, and we get into all this right is might. So what happens is mass formation psychosis has been building for the last couple of years. Neptune in the final degrees of Pisces can lead to that psychic drift, a nothingness, a loss of hope and direction, right? We feel isolated. When we're like that, we are very susceptible to embracing illusory things that are an illusion, and we don't know they're an illusion. So now the narrative supplied by the algorithms and by the power structures that are in place, those narratives that are supplied, they make us feel part of something. If I believe this, I have my people. Oh, they're them. Those aren't my people. Do you see where I'm going with this? That's what is happening in the world. And people buy into these structures, which are an illusion. They aren't even real. People buy into them because it makes them feel purposeful again. It makes them feel like they're about something, right? So during COVID, for instance, when we were isolated, people agreed with things they never would have otherwise. And then when they came out of the COVID psychic drift, they were like, yeah, I can't believe I did that. Like they had me doing this. I really thought this was a thing, right? So that's still going on. And we're all desperate to belong. We all feel in the middle because the structures underneath us are crumbling. So we're all desperate to grasp onto something and say, these are my people. They believe what I believe. This is good. I can do this. When none of it's real because no one really knows where we're going. No one has a crystal ball. The only thing that's real is love. So if you can back up whatever your cause is, again, don't be a rebel without a cause. Whatever your cause is, whether it's animals or underprivileged children or challenged children or the elderly or whatever it is, stop fighting these paradigms and algorithms of what they want you to think is a structure. Go into the love portion. Leave your house today and go help somebody. All this blasting stuff on Facebook does no one any good. No one cares about our opinions. I can tell you that right now. Burning down things isn't the way to go, right? If you're championing pets, go volunteer at a pet place. If it's the elderly, go do something at a nursing home or assisted living. If you're Champion is saving souls. Make a Zen Kuda Soul Space episode. Be on here with me. I'd love to have you, right? If it's challenged children, learning disabled, whatever the speak is today about that, every month it's a new term for it. I just call them children who are challenged because we're all challenged in one way or another, right? We all need a little help. So whatever it is, just put love there. Stop fighting a system that's probably not going to exist 6 months from now. Just go love somebody. That's Aries energy. It's using our fire, our solar light to go out and do some good in the world. And I know most of you watching, I'm looking at all your names right now. Most of you watching do that. And you do more of it because that's what's going to get us where we need to be. Because right now, this mass formation psychosis is at its height. I can't even believe some of the stuff I'm hearing and seeing. I cannot deviate from the news or an SNL skit. I think I'm watching Saturday Night Live and it's real. So I know I got on my soapbox there, but that's just what I'm telling you because April 4th, April 7th, April 12th and 13th, and April 29th. Those are the trigger point days. All right. Social networks where people get their news are manipulated by algorithms and they're inciting more anger and division. All right. I don't care about the algorithms. I don't care if 3 people watch this show today. If they're the 3 people who need to watch the show to feel loved and belong, great. I love you. I don't care if 3 million watch the show. Great. Then 3 million people needed me. Did it change my life? No. So don't worry about algorithms. Just do what you love. Clear out your cache on YouTube if you're a YouTube watcher. Just clear out that cache because they're going to keep giving you things that support what's upsetting you. All right. And then I'm going to just say one more thing about the astrology. Uranus is conjunct a fixed star called Algol. Algol is a very potent star. Usually when Algol is in play, something happens in the world that can be a little bit unsettling in a more violent way. Algol in the ancients used to call it the star of beheading because people would lose their heads. So Uranus is conjunct Algol all month this month. The last time it was in Algol was in July, and we talked about July and what happened then before. So that's the energy. It's a humdinger, but there's also a lot of good here because that Aries energy, especially with Chiron there, is really going to allow us to embrace our wounds, find where the wounding is in our life so we can heal it. Because, once we see something for what it is, then we no longer have to be in it. We can approach it in a different way. I think that was one of my saving graces when I used to be in a lot of trauma when I was going through a lot of my dark nights of the soul. Not only the fact that I knew they weren't permanent, but also that I knew that they were bringing me somewhere. There was treasure in it somehow. It was hard to do, but don't be afraid to go into that underworld where we bring up and reveal all of the light. Bring what's dark inside you into the light to heal it. So I'm going to say hi to some people now. I'm glad you found us, Nancy. Hey, Gina Marie. Kathy, hello. How are you? I hope you're doing good. Elaine. Oh, you're welcome, Elaine. I love you. And Elaine, you have so many gifts, and I know that right now you also are in grief, but I was going to say to you, my mom used to say this, and I was looking at old pictures of my mom today. I was starting to get a little teary-eyed. I've been cleaning out Aries energy. It makes you clean everything out of the house. My mom always used to tell me when I was a little girl and I would be having a hard time with something or somebody was mean to me or I was like sad because I didn't get something. I didn't win the role in the play, stupid stuff, kid stuff. And she'd always say, go help somebody, go out, do something. I'll drop you off at church. Go make a basket up for someone. Go through your closet, get the clothes that you can't wear anymore, and let's bring them to somebody. She would always make me do something for someone else whenever I felt down. And I'm going to tell you, it made me grateful because like I would, go bring a bag of clothes to the Goodwill or I would go to church to help one of the nuns or whatever. And it would make me feel grateful. And that would be my antidote for grief. So you have such gifts, Elaine. I know you have to have your grieving time, but get out there and use your gifts because people need you. We need you out in the world. And that I can definitely tell you. So Cheryl spent the day doing charity work for the YMCA. Yeah, that's what we need to be in right now. That's what's going to bring us back and ground us. Use that lion heart when Mars goes into Leo in this month. Use that lion heartedness to bring you someplace that you're passionate about where you can help other people, because there's going to be a lot of stuff going on in the world that is destructive. And the thing is, like, you guys, a lot of you know who know me personally, I'm on the board of directors for an organization called the Babylon Breast Cancer Coalition. I'm a survivor, and it's a wonderful place. We do a lot. We're grassroots in the community, and we, if someone calls up and we have something in our, box, and they're like, listen, I have no heat in my house. If we can turn on that heat or get oil or gas for them that night, we do it, right? If someone calls up and says, I have no food, we will go and get a food card for them. So, we try so hard, and we have a caseload. But I kid you not, ladies, whenever we need something and we don't have it, we'll be at the coalition, or the ladies who work in the office will be at the coalition, and they'll be like, oh, we really need this. Donna so-and-so or Erin so-and-so really needs this thing. We got to get it. The phone will ring and someone will donate it. And we did nothing. Last week, I was at my Reiki circle that I do monthly for the ladies, and one of the ladies was having surgery that Monday, and she came in and she said, I need a wedge pillow, because she was having a double mastectomy. She said, I need the wedge pillow, and I don't have one. I couldn't find one, and I really need it because it's like a pillow that goes under the arm, so that after you have your mastectomies, you're like really propped up, and it makes you more comfortable. And so we were all sitting in the circle, and I looked at the woman, Terry, that I work with at the coalition, who really runs the show with a lot of things. And we just looked at each other. We thought, well, there's probably one at the office. Maybe she'll get her one or whatever. And I started the circle, and somebody came in that was late, and she comes in with a big plastic bag. And what is in the bag? A wedge pillow. And the woman who was sitting next to me, who needed the wedge pillow, said, the girl comes in and goes, oh, I brought a wedge pillow for anybody if they need it. I don't know if anybody needs it. I was going to bring it up to the coalition today, but I ran late. And the woman sitting next to me who needed the wedge pillow just looked at me, and I said, happens all the time. Like, when you put it out in the universe and it's pure love, it's the boomerang comes back. So instead of being in the violence and the dissension and the opinionated stuff, go give your energy to somebody who really needs it. Because ain't nobody ranting on social media needs more of that. I can guarantee that. So let's just try and do that. So I didn't see. Oh, don't cry, Elaine. Oh, I love you so much. I wish you were around the corner still. I would come see you. We could do a Zoom. So that is my advice for tonight. I'm reading comments now, and I love that I can see my comments. I'm going to use my phone from that for now, so I don't have to squint anymore. So let's get out there. Let's make it a pact. When I come back in next Monday, I want to hear all your stories about what you guys went out and did and who you helped, and I'm going to have one too. How does that sound? I think that sounds really good. So we've got a lot of fire in the sky this month. Make sure you're using your fire for good stuff. I'm going to pull 3 cards just to see what the energy says for us tonight. Let's see if Spirit's with us. Let's all kind of link our energy here. I'm going to send you guys up 1,000,000 hearts. I know it sounds like a lot of really volatile energy, and it is, but we can use it to our advantage, So remember, fire is a good thing, right? Those marshmallows taste pretty good over the fire, right? Gonna cut the deck. Okay, Spirit's telling me to take the top 3 cards. At the World card. The World card means everything's in balance as long as you trust the universe, what we're talking about. No sleepless nights, guys. We're worrying for nothing. Whenever you feel worry, control something that you can in your life, like going out and helping somebody. The Magician. This is the Pisces card. This card, if you look, I hope you can see on camera, there's an infinity sign over the head of this person, and it's called the Magician. And this means that all of our hopes and dreams and wishes can come true, and that we have the power to do miracles, and that there is no such thing as impossible when you put love there. Look at all this beautiful gold in the background. So for me, Spirit is coming in telling us, remember, we are all part of the world. And even when the world is going crazy, we can make it better by taking our responsibility and doing our part in the world. One of my mentors in astrology always says, think cosmically, act locally. I love that expression. Thank you, Rick Levine. And this card is showing us that we have sleepless nights. We have been worrying, but it's needless, because when we link ourselves with the energy of infinite energy of the Spirit, we can accomplish everything, just like the Magician and his magic wand. So where are you going to So where are you going to use your magic wand tonight and this week? And hopefully when we come back, we will all have magic wand stories. And I will see you in the soul space. Watch our social media because I'm going to put up the schedule for the whole month of April so you know what's coming up. And you can find me on Facebook on Zenkuda Soul Space, on Instagram at Zenkuda Official, and on YouTube at Zenkuda. Subscribe there if you haven't yet. And if you need to book a reading or any kind of service, go to zenkuda.com. It's right up there on the screen. And you can actually book your appointment with me, and it will actually even give you your appointment. So thank you so much, everybody. I have loved tonight's show. I love that you all came on, and let's all get out there and do something to help somebody. Love you all. See you next week at 7 o'clock on a Monday. Bye. Hi, everybody. It's Georgia Rose from Zenkuda, and here is our beautiful new website, zenkuda.com. So I want to show you a little bit and give you a tour of this beautiful site that we have. And everything is all in one place now, and you can do everything Zenkuda right on our website. So when you log into the homepage, there's a little space here where you can go right to Zenkuda Astrology, online classes, or book a reading or coaching session with me. Not only do I offer astrology readings and coaching sessions, but I also do tarot work and all kinds of things to help you get in touch with your own soul space and living Zenkuda. There's also a place here where I describe my journey and what it was like for me to actually found the Zenkuda community and be able to bring you all of the healing techniques that we do and the philosophies of evolutionary astrology, spiritual wisdom, and yoga. And you can read about what my journey was like. And in addition to that, if you go on to book a reading, you can actually book a reading for any session that you really would like to have. For instance, a 1-hour astrology chart reading, a tarot card reading. I also do synastry chart readings for couples. And I can also do a long distance healing meditation and Reiki session. And you can even purchase our Circle of Light Oracle cards, which were created by myself in order to put healing and light into your day. If you go back up, there's also a space where we're going to be putting our online classes. Those will be very, very soon. If you'd like to be informed about those online classes, about astrology and spirituality, yoga, all sorts of things, you can join our wait list and just give us your email, and we'll be sure to let you know exactly when classes will be starting. And this button here brings you right to the Soul Space podcast. You can now watch the Soul Space live or past Soul Space podcast right on our zenkuda.com page. You can listen to them on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or on YouTube and enjoy every minute and never miss a show. So I hope you'll look at this beautiful website. I'm also writing blogs about my journey, and we're in the process of importing all the older blogs that I've written in the last 5 to 10 years right on our Rose blog page, which is my beautiful blog. And you can, anytime you want, just come in and read all about my own journey to finding Zenkuda. If you want to work with me in a small or large group, or book me for reading, or doing a gallery style reading, or a public speaking event, or even a retreat, you can do that on our Work with Georgia page. And hopefully we can help you create your future with some coaching or some astrology workshops. So that is our beautiful zenkuda.com site. I hope you'll be on there. We're also developing a space for community on there where you can learn more about astrology and spirituality and all kinds of things, and we can support each other on our beautiful, beautiful journey to finding our own soul space and living Zenkuda.